Good morning, welcome to a morning review. This is Kim Watson speaking on Tuesday, the 26th of January. So looking at the euro dollar first, and yesterday euro managed to hold on to its gains. It's shoved up, and this morning we've seen it probably outperform most of the majors. It's now running towards its 4-hour 50 once again, although it's relatively flat but with a slight slope. It may just provide some resistance at that level. Looking at the shorter time frames, intermediate time frame here on the alley, we are starting to put these higher lows in, higher highs. It's sort of rooting in that way. We may be pushing up. There's that equivalent of the 4-hour hourly 50. There's the 2-hourly 100 sitting, 200 sitting there, and the R1 pivot. Now it looks like it wants to push into that first. It has got below us though an untouched daily pivot. So if we do start seeing it reverse, be a likely target. If it continues, the pivots are pinched today. If it continues, I'm just looking to it's really looking at last sort of Thursday's highs, maybe would be sort of areas, the intermediate high there, maybe into that R2 area where it could push on, but it may just be one of these days it just shoves. Looking at cable yesterday again couldn't really hold on to much. It's looking like it wants to roll over, although it's just sitting pretty much on our lower band there. Now if it can bounce from there, there's a possibility it can come up. It's got a daily pivot above us. Pivots are very pinched again. We're already down into the S1 territory. There is a bit of sort of divergence kicking in at the roundabout where we are. If it can gain any traction and break this trend line, well, it could be on for the daily pivot. At the moment, it does look weak with the lower lows, lower highs, so it's looking on the weaker side. Say already hit S1. Dollar yen. One thing with news-wise, sorry, with the pound, the Bank of England governor does testify today at 10:45. So whether or not there'll be any further comments or any movement around about then, which may create some volatility in the pound, we'll see. But I'm expecting that there won't be massive movement there, but probably some volatility around that time. Okay, dollar yen. Dollar yen's been selling or strengthening once again, moving back into sort of stronger position. Yesterday it put in this bearish harami, and it's since triggered that sort of move and running downwards. Already hit the weekly pivot now, and well, straight into its 4-hourly 34. It may provide a bit of support. If not, it's got the 50 just above, below rather. Now that 50 is a little bit flat, so whether it holds, we'll see. Certainly the 60-minute 200's flat, that's for sure. But as again, we've got these lower highs, lower lows kicking through. There's a reasonable trend, untouched daily pivot above. So really, all we could wait to see is if there's any sort of movement in this and the push up to the upside. Well, we could see the daily pivot hit at some point, but at the moment, it's already down into the S2. Could come down even further at this rate. Certainly looking weak. Finally, Canadian dollar. We just surprised at the Canadian, not surprised rather, the Canadian dollar, because if you look at what's happening with oil, let's just push this back a bit. Oil's dumped again. There's a comment from OPEC that they can't cut production to increase prices because the likes of the US and Russia are still pumping out even more oil, and obviously Iran's in the game now and pushing in. So it's really putting downward pressure on oil, so upward pressure on the Canadian dollar in that case. So no great big surprises here to see it pushing up. I mentioned it yesterday. If we was to see oil continue, this is what I'm expecting, and it's pretty much doing that now. Today, where we're sitting at the moment, there's a bit of divergence running on this hourly time frame, but again, it's putting higher highs in, higher lows. It's to me, it's I would rather be playing the long position on it than the short position. It took a long time to set anything yesterday. 3 o'clock before it started really kicking off. Really choppy old market. We saw this a lot yesterday, and we've got to remember we've got an FOMC meeting this Wednesday. So let's see, the probably part of the reason why we're seeing this sort of slack in the markets at the moment. But for me, Canadian dollar is a trade to be played on alongside maybe a pullback to those 21s. If they come back there, to me, it's more of a buy than anything else. Okay, the pivot's just below, but I'm not too worried about chasing for those. I'd much rather be on the long side there. Okay, that's me for today. I'm just looking news-wise. There's nothing else significant. Well, there's the US consumer confidence at 3 o'clock. We sometimes get a little bit of movement about that. It's not a big hitter. There's nothing else news-wise today, but the big news really comes in with the FOMC meeting tomorrow. So I will leave you there. Have a great day. Bye for now.